This is True with True Concept 360. Let's hop right into our next video reaction.
What's up, Henry? So when was the last time you saw her?
She was in the house.
She was in the bed?
Yeah.
When you went to bed last night?
I'ma still look.
Because you was watching her, Henry.
I did a little look around. I didn't see Bree.
In the quiet town of Davenport, Iowa, a dark mystery unfolded on a fateful summer night.
The Iowa State Patrol issued the Amber Alert for 10-year-old Breezia Taylor early this morning.
A missing child, a suspicious stepfather,
Henry, you don't know where your daughter is, you don't know your address, and you don't know your phone number.
For real.
and a desperate search for the truth.
I can't go to sleep with that. Like, what the? It's 9:30 and she's nowhere.
He already looked like a suspect. He looked weird. He looked like a suspect already.
This is the story of Breezia Terrell,
I know she played basketball.
Yes, Curry fan.
where every clue peels back another layer of a chilling crime.
States Exhibit 822, which is being shown here.
Items in the closet.
Hey, true crime fans, welcome back. Today we delve into the haunting disappearance and tragic murder of 10-year-old Breezia Terrell.
Once you picked up that skull, what did you determine?
That it was real.
Buckle up, because this story is filled with shocking twists and turns that you won't believe.
Man jumped out the road in front of me and waved his arms.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you never miss an update from our channel.
She was already in skulls and bones when they actually found her. I think that was her court case. That's crazy. So it took them that long for them to locate her. Crazy.
Not one of those videos can identify Breezia Terrell in that Impala. That is correct.
Now, let's uncover the dark secrets behind this heartbreaking case. Breezia Terrell came into the world on December 4th, 2009, in Davenport, Iowa. Right from the start, her mom, Aisha, knew she was something special.
And I mean, she's so playful, she's helpful, she's a big sister.
Breezia was loving, creative, fun, and carefree, always eager to help out.
She likes to draw, she loves to sing, she loves Moana.
Aisha and Breezia's dad didn't stay together, but a few years later, Aisha started seeing a guy named Henry Dinkins.
We were together for about two and a half, 3 years, you know.
Before long,
See, this is what happens. You get these parents or these mothers get desperate because they're alone, they're raising their kids, they're a single mom, and then they don't know the history. They don't really know the background of these guys, man, that they actually link up with. They get desperate. So they get into these relationships with the guy, probably don't have anything going for himself, end up living off of her. So their mind is not clear. I mean, they're a man, but they're not really being a man because their mind is not there. Their mind is not clear. So any opportunity they can get or anything that ruffle their feathers, they use their manipulation, their anger to take over a situation.
they found out they were having a baby boy.
And we also have an 8-year-old boy together.
Because of the boy's age, we will be using his initials DL for the story. Breezia adored DL and loved helping her parents with him.
So she done end up getting pregnant from the guy. He already looked like a suspect. I mean, I don't want to prejudge anything, but you can just tell. I mean, he already looked like, he's up to no good.
Even though Breezia and DL were half-siblings, Henry was like a dad to Breezia at first. He was there for her, helping to raise her, but eventually, things between him and Aisha fell apart.
I raised Breasia.
Since how old was she?
My baby.
Okay.
After they split, Henry didn't come around much anymore. It was tough for DL and Breesia not to have that father figure.
How long were you and Aisha together for?
Like 2 years.
But Aisha had a big family who always stepped in to help, giving Breesia lots of love and support, which helped her grow up with a good head on her shoulders.
Your daughter, I know she played basketball.
Yes, very fair.
In 2020, Breesia was 10. Her family said she had the cutest personality, tons of friends, and loved to express herself.
She's my shadow. She's amazing. She's a child anybody would want.
But she was also a real rule follower. She not only followed the rules, but made sure others did too.
But I mean, a strong girl and definitely a fighter. She's not going nowhere without a fight at all.
In June 2020, while the world was in chaos from COVID-19, Aisha noticed her ex-boyfriend, Henry Dinkins, started coming around more. Henry now had a new girlfriend, Andrea Culbertson. Andrea was way different from Henry.
How would you describe your personality?
Quiet.
Mr. Dinkins' personality?
Very outspoken.
That summer, Henry began hosting neighborhood cookouts, bringing everyone together for some good food and fun, even in the midst of the pandemic.
But we stayed close friends.
But you guys stayed close friends. So how long? So you guys
We've been friends. We've been friends all the way up to now.
Okay. And how long ago did you guys break up? Break it off?
It's like 6 years ago.
For the past few years, Henry hadn't been very involved in his son DL's life, so these cookouts were a chance for them to reconnect. Breesia would also come along, spending time with Henry.
A lot of times, I'm going to say this, a lot of times a father stopped coming around for the kid is because the attitude of the mother, her personality, a lot of times the mother would blame it, the mother of the kid would blame it on the father. But a woman have to realize if she don't have a proper attitude to receive that father to be there for his kid, and she has the opportunity to make it hard for the father to be there for that kid. Yes, it's the father's kid. It's the man's kid. But if that woman don't create an atmosphere for that relationship to take place, that father of that kid will stop coming around.
On July 8th, 2020, Aisha and DL were driving in Davenport when they saw Henry pull into a quick shop. DL, excited, pointed out his dad and told Aisha he wished he could see him more. So Aisha pulled over to let DL talk to his dad. Aisha had a conversation with Henry about being more involved, and Henry agreed.
That's good.
He even offered to have DL stay with him over the weekend.
Okay.
I had seen them, and they said they wanted to come and spend time with me.
The next morning, July 9th, Henry arrived around 11 a.m. to pick up DL. But DL, not wanting to leave his sister Breesia behind, asked Henry if she could come too. Henry agreed, and Aisha, knowing Henry had been part of Breesia's life from ages 2 to 5, and considering him family, allowed her to go. Aisha had another son who was 13 years old. He also asked if he could stay with Henry that weekend, but Henry said no to him and yes to Breesia. Henry's reason for not letting the 13-year-old come along was that he didn't have enough space in his car.
And actually, the 13-year-old boy, CS, expressed an interest in being able to go along as well. Henry Dinkins indicated that Breasia was welcome to come along, but he indicated that the 13-year-old boy, CS, could not come along, and the reason that he offered up for that was there was not enough room in his car for the 3 children. The day that he picked Detorius up and Breasia came along, he was offered...
That seems kind of odd to me. Maybe he didn't have a clear relationship with the 13-year-old, or maybe he did. But for some reason, he used that as an excuse to not allow that the 13-year-old, the oldest, to come along with them for some odd reason.
a black Camaro, and that black Camaro had seating both for front seat passengers and back seat passengers.
There was plenty of room. Henry just didn't want the 13-year-old to come. So Breja and DL got into the car with Henry and took off. After leaving home, Henry took the kids to his friend's house, a guy named Vincent Howard.
They went over. There was time spent there at the Howard residence. Both of the children spent the afternoon playing video games. Mr. Dinkins left the residence for a period of time, came back.
Henry left the house for a bit while DL and Breja played video games. Eventually, he came back, and then they left to go home.
To my cousin's house. We went down to my cousin's house, and they played with my little cousins.
Henry did have a place of his own at an RV park in town, but he mostly stayed with his girlfriend in her one-bedroom apartment. That evening, Henry and the kids arrived at his girlfriend's apartment complex, jumped out of the car, and headed into Unit 8. Inside, Andrea was still working on her computer. She worked remotely for AT&T.
Andrea Culberson, Mr. Dinkins' girlfriend, she works for AT&T, and she actually works out of her home. She was working till sometime around 7:30 that evening. While she was working, Breja was very, very interested in the type of work that she was doing, and Ms. Culberson was showing her how she performed her responsibilities for AT&T.
Meanwhile, DL was in the living room playing video games.
We went to the house. They started playing the games at the house, and then they took their showers, and then they got into bed. You know, me and Andrea laid down.
Later, Aisha got off work and realized that Breja didn't have clothes for the weekend. She rushed home, packed a bag for Breja, and drove it over to the apartment. When she arrived, she called Henry to let him know she was there.
A complex that she was familiar with.
She got clothes for the little girl, but she didn't get clothes for the little boy. So maybe the little boy is not staying over. But that's strange that she only got clothes for the little boy.
Never been to the Culberson apartment before. At any rate, when she responded to the complex, she called to notify the parties that she was out in the parking lot, and Breja came down to gather the clothing. Mom had the family pet with them, the dog. Breja was really excited about it. In fact, Breja wanted to take the dog with her up to the apartment. Mom had to call her back and say, no, the family pet's going home. But at any rate, you know, it was one of those of give the clothes, love you, have a wonderful time. And then Aisha left with Breja going back inside the apartment complex, or I should say apartment number 8, with the clothing.
It was raining pretty hard, so their interaction was quick. Aisha watched as her daughter ran back to apartment 8, not knowing this would be the last time she would ever see Breja alive. Later that night, Aisha went home and took a bath. It had been a long day, and this was the first night in a while she didn't have her children.
She got back to the apartment, was very tired, having worked all day, took a bath, and very simply, she fell asleep.
So I get it, why she was so, agreeing to allowing the kids to go with the guy is to give her a free night. She felt like she needed a break at that time. It was a prime opportunity. She probably seen the dad to the little boy. Hey, why don't you go with your daddy? I'll let you go with him. So it was a free night for her to do whatever, whether she was going to go home and get some rest, but she was without any kids. But she still had the 13-year-old, unless she allowed the 13-year-old to go to a friend's house that night or what have you. So she was free from kids. She wanted to be. This is how the daughter was separated from the mom at that time.
On the couch, and she was out for the evening. At some point, unbeknownst to her, the children, DL and Breja, neither of which had cell phones, Culberson apartment, she had received a telephone call from Henry Dinkins' phone that was unanswered. And then the caller became very apparent because then there was a text message that came through from Breasia saying, "Good night, Mommy, I love you." All right. So that was somewhere around 10, 11 o'clock in the evening.
Oh, she tried to call her mom for the last time to tell her that she loved her. And the mom was so tired that she was passed out on the couch and she didn't receive that phone call. That's sad. Not knowing that would be the last time that she would get a live phone call or hear her voice live.
Next morning, completely unaware that her life was just minutes away from being turned upside down, Aisha got a text from Henry saying, "I just woke up and Breasia is gone." Aisha immediately started calling him over and over, trying to understand what was going on, but he wouldn't answer. When he finally did, he said that they all went to sleep, and by the time they woke up, Breasia was gone.
When she called me and she said, "Mom, Breasia missing," I'm like, "What you mean Breasia missing?" She said, "Henry said Breasia missing."
Henry was at a loss for words. Aisha was hysterical.
What was he communicating to you about his location and what he was doing?
He wasn't necessarily communicating anything. He said that he was out looking for her and he was going to make a police report.
Okay. When you spoke with Mr. Dinkins, did it become...
Another thing I wanted to point out is she looks very young. She looks way younger than him. So, like I said, you get these single moms. She was a single mom of 2 kids before she actually met this guy. Or she probably knew him around the neighborhood. And they get so desperate of being alone, trying to raise kids, and he comes over like a savior. You know, he's a little older, and she feels like he can save her. So, being that said, he's able to manipulate into thinking that he's her savior, and they get into these type of situations. Not saying that every relationship with kids that the man takes over and, you know, abuse the kid or, you know, unalive the kid, but they get into some, you know, strange situations because they desperately get into these relationships as a single mom, and they pick these guys that don't mean them no good.
To you that he had not yet reported Breasia as missing?
Yes.
But he said he was in the car with DL on the way to the police station. Aisha hung up and called the police herself.
Okay. I want to pick up at the point in time where you described sitting in the back room and you were crying.
Yes.
There at Checkers. What did your manager encourage you to do?
He encouraged me to get into the car and go downtown and figure out what was going on.
See, like I say, not knowing if she has an education or what her background is, but she wasn't getting that much money. She's working at Checkers. She's a fast food worker. Not knocking people who work at fast food restaurants, but just to point out when single women get into certain situations, it's because they're desperate. You know, they don't have enough money to support themselves and their kids. You know, wherever the kid's father, you know, whether the kid's father is in prison or, you know, running the streets and don't want to be in the kid's life, they get into these desperate situations. And these guys, they know that these women are vulnerable and they take full advantage. They take full advantage of these type of women. And that's bad. That's so wrong. That's bad.
By going downtown, what do you mean?
Like going down to the police department.
Did you actually leave Checkers to travel down to the Davenport Police Department?
I did.
All right.
But on her way, she noticed Henry's car speeding through traffic in the opposite direction of the police station.
I noticed Mr. Dinkins' Impala flying down the opposite way, making a really hard turn on, I think it's a left turn on Eastern.
Okay.
Aisha made a U-turn, pulled up behind him, and started laying on her horn.
I was speeding behind him, honking the horn. I was calling his phone, and when I finally got him on the phone, he said that he was headed to Jersey Meadows because they wanted to talk to him out there. And I was still on his bumper, honking the horn, and we had pulled over by the McDonald's on.
Henry started rambling about how he didn't know his home address and needed to turn back to get it. None of it made any sense. Aisha also noticed Henry's shoes were covered in mud. She and Henry got back into their cars, and Aisha followed him to the apartment. They also communicated with the Davenport PD, and an officer was sent out to meet them.
And Henry lives here.
Yeah, I guess so. This is where
I want to say this. I may be wrong, but I can already see where this story is going. And it's a possibility that this guy, because they did not state that the son went missing as well. It was just the 10-year-old little girl. So I can kind of already guess where this story is going. I think maybe some foul play was played into this situation with that little girl. I really believe there was some foul play, which ultimately she became unalive by him. And now he's trying to cover it up. Wow.
Okay.
he don't even know how long she's even been gone.
An officer arrived outside the apartment at 8:55 a.m. After collecting information about Breesia, Henry approaches the police officer with his son DL by his side.
What's up, Henry? So when was the last time you saw her?
She was in the house.
Yeah, when was the last time you saw her?
9:30.
Last night?
9:30.
Okay. Okay.
With him.
Okay. When was the last time you saw her?
She was in the bed when I woke up this morning.
She was in the bed?
Yeah.
When you went to bed last night? Okay.
This is crazy, man. This is like, you know what I'm saying? I know she fucking going fucking hysterical, big brother.
Yeah. D-I-N.
K-I-N-S.
But then Henry can't recall his address. He also doesn't know his own phone number, and he has also lost his daughter.
Is this your home address?
No.
What's your address?
It's down by Ralston Carina.
Yeah, I
just know down.
You don't know your address?
I don't know the full address.
Do you know your phone number?
Hell no, I don't even know that either. I swear to God, I don't.
Henry, you don't know where your daughter is, you don't know your address, and you don't know your phone number.
No, for real. I'm finna
So,
give it to you now. You think I'll be lying, but...
Well, no, it's just...
Yeah, I can already see it. He one of those guys that prey on innocent, weak women. He prey on innocent, weak women. And he liked to take advantage over women. He liked to... this is probably why this little girl has went missing, because he's one of those type of men that take advantage over women. He used their weaknesses and throw it back and make them feel bad, throw it back in their face and take advantage over them, manipulate them, just like I said in the beginning.
It's kind of...
I don't call myself.
I know, but you got to know your number. You got to know your address. So this is your girlfriend's address here?
Just a good friend.
Okay.
When it comes to any specifics, he can't recall anything for certain.
What was she last wearing?
In the bed.
What you have on, some shorts?
What color?
I don't remember. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you.
What's her height and weight, you think?
She's a little taller than he is.
She's this tall.
Okay.
She's a little taller than that. She's probably about like this here.
Okay. What kind?
All right, I'm going to end the video right here, which this will be a 2 segment to this video, maybe 3. It's over an hour, so maybe 3 segments, but for sure it'll be 2 segments. My name is True with True Concept 360. Like I always say, there's 3 sides to a story: the plaintiff, the defendant, and the truth. Until next time, good night.